Hi, and welcome to the Untitled Car Show. I'm your host, Ike. Today we have Ryan West. He is, I guess, somewhat on location over with the, driving back from the 25 hours of Thunder Hill. What was it, prep day today? What did we just do?
Today was qualifying and free practice, but they do this weird thing where it's practice and it's also a track day if you want. So you end up with way more cars than there's supposed to be on the track, which is like, it's cool because you can, practice driving in multi-class racing and not have it be like a race. But at the same time, it's just packed and there's radicals and lots of Miatas and BMW Spec E46s. And no, it's pretty cool. And then like halfway through the last practice session, NASA's like, oh, and now we're qualifying. Get off the track if you're not qualifying.
It just seems as a wonderful, messy, everything kind of great and weird about racing at the 25 hours of Thunder Hill. So
the thing I like about Thunder Hill is you have just a really unique, I think it's one of the last places in the world where there's a genuine run what you brung class. So, for example, there's several teams that have kit cars that are technically road cars, and they build the kit car around a tube frame or whatever, and then it's a competition to see how powerful you can get your LS engine to go and how long you can get it to last. And these things thunder around at ridiculous pace, and then even recently they've had Ginetta sports cars based in Britain. They have the Ginetta LMP3 car. And then they recently, in the last year or so, were tired because they didn't like the engine selection or something. Don't quote me on this. They didn't like the engine that they were told they had to use for LMP3. So instead, they stopped building LMP3 cars, and they used their P3 car as the basis for this just stupid fast prototype. Full carbon, everything. I'm guessing it runs LMP2 times. Big V8 motor in the back as opposed to the Nissan. Yeah, it's a Nissan. Is it a Nissan V6 or V8? I don't know. Anyway, as opposed to the Nissan engine, they have this big Chevy V8 in the back, and it's loud, and it sounds good, and it looks great. But there's just so much cool stuff. You'll have that, and he'll be screaming down the straightaway, and then 3 or 4 seconds later, you'll have this gaggle of spec Miatas fighting with each other like it's a Miata Cup or something. And just everything in between. It's great. Especially in the last 2 or 3 years, it's gone from, there used to be, Porsche Cup cars used to be pretty common and they won the race a lot. And then now, people bring GT3 cars, which are just big, brute, specially built. There's Flying Lizard Racing brings their GT3 Audi. In the past, they've brought other cars. It's just a really cool menagerie of different racing cars. And the paddock access is great. You can talk to everybody. It's awesome. Everybody loves you. Everybody's excited to be there. There's not super worried about sponsors and, ego and all that stuff. So, it's pretty cool. I really enjoy it. I enjoy my time spent in Willows for the race.
Do you want to talk at all about what you're doing out there with the race?
So I'm working with Endurance Radio. So you can go to there. I'm going to give them a quick plug. endurance-radio.com. By the time this comes out, I'm sure the race will have been over. But if it does come out in time, you can pick up a live stream. We're going to have some video. We've got excellent commentary, all that kind of stuff. And I hope to at least at some point get these guys on the show, but they're usually very busy, especially this time of the year, trying to get everything sorted out. So they fly out from the East Coast every year because they love the event and they put it on and they have fun. So it's always really cool to get to work with those guys. So that's that. It's 25 hours up in Northern California. Usually it's pretty balls cold. It's fun stuff.
It's for those of you who don't know Northern California, it's basically climatologically at this time of year, I would guess about mid-50s based on my knowledge, right? Like
at night, it'll be down to 35.
yeah, so it's gonna be pretty balls chilly. So if you want to experience the race, do it from a safe distance and just listen to endurance radio. And then there's live. You guys have live scoring and
We've got live
feeds.
timing and scoring. We've got a couple this year. We don't know what's going on, but we do have in-car. We have several in-car feeds. We'll have at least one static trackside camera, and we've got a full commentary crew. And usually there's pit reporters, but I don't know the technicals of how that's going to work this year. And it happens tomorrow, and I have no idea how we're going to do that. So that's where we're at with that. Very low budget, but it's so fun. There's not a better way, I think, to spend a weekend in December.
No,
just
not.
walking around, watching race cars do their thing, and you've got all these pros come. It's fun. It's a blast. Everybody should come to it at least once, and that's okay because your standard entry includes parking and a paddock pass, and by that I mean they hand you a wristband and don't care about parking, and it's $10 or $15.
Yeah,
and you get to walk around a great track. There's a lot of access, and no one's there.
Which is crazy to me because every racer I know, and like I was saying off air before this, like the people I really know who formerly race cars, they all love this race, and they want to do it. And it's crazy to me that it doesn't get as much attention as it should. So, I don't know.
I think, without delving too much into politics, because as stupid as it sounds, this is a club race, and anybody who knows about club racing won't be surprised, but it's not just Formula One and IMSA and all those. It's not just major series that have politics going on. There's always a lot of politics involved with this. The easy one that I can think of is Thunder Hill is the home of the SCCA's San Francisco region, which includes Sonoma and Laguna Seca. But it's the SCCA's track. They own it. It's in Glenn County. But it's the SCCA's track, and then it's a NASA event. So you've always got this kind of clashing ideals there. They usually don't have enough flag people, so you ask SCCA people, and you can't wear this badge, but you can wear this badge. And if you have an SCCA badge on your car, you got to take it off and put a NASA badge on it. Anyway, there's way more politics than that. But all that aside, yeah, it's pretty cool to watch. But I do think that they intentionally discourage the event from becoming a big, huge thing because they don't want this cost to skyrocket and then end up having it not be an event anymore. But I'd say over the last 5 years, it has crept up. This year, it's a little bit less cool, I think, than the year before. But the quality of entry has gone up. The amount of money spent by the top teams has probably gone up a lot. So, come out and see it. It's not Le Mans, but it's still really cool. We were talking a couple of years ago, and we think this is the race that has it's of all 24 and 25-hour races, it's the race that has the longest nighttime section just due to where it's out on the calendar.
Yeah, that's a good point. Which is
because Le Mans in the summer, Daytona's pretty close, but they're closer to the equator than we are, so,
that's crazy to think about because that's definitely the hardest time to drive too.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, obviously, but and then you have all the different, and it's not like Daytona where you have, 4 classes. It seems to be a lot of different, just like you said, rung what you brung sort of stuff. So.
Right. The first 4 classes, there's E3, E2, E1, and E0. And those, so like an E3 car would be like a Spec Miata. So if you've got a Spec Miata, and if you go to NASA's website, they have like a breakdown of what all the classes are. But the first 4 classes are like, if you own a club racing car, you're in one of these 4. And some of them are like, if you want to use this club race car, but you want to use slicks instead, it bumps you up. Or if you're going to use this car, but you're going to use treaded tires, it bumps you back down, all that kind of stuff. This year, the E1 class is pretty popping. Kind of a big fan of it. It's got MX-5 Cups from Mazda. Honda Research West has a bunch of Civics. There's Spec E46s. There's lightly breathed on M3s. And after talking to some of the teams, I think they're the ones that have the most fun because you've got the top-end teams that have the Wolf Sports Racer and the Praga Sports Racers and the Janetta and the Radicals. You've got those guys, and you've got guys that bring GT3 cars and people who have just stupidly modified M3s that are just crazy fast for how much money has been spent. Those guys spend the whole race dipping and dodging and diving and trying not to hit people and staying out of the way and trying to pass people. And usually the fastest lap of the race happens on like the first or second lap when there's no traffic, because it's so tight and so packed the whole way. So they don't have a whole lot of fun. And then on the flip side of that, especially a couple of years ago, they had 2 Honda Fits entered, a Saturn. What was the like 90s Saturn that was like the 2-door quote unquote sports car?
They had the SC, which, the C stood for coupe, so.
Yeah, it might have been an SC, and they had the roof cut off and it had a cage. It was a trump car. So they had 2 Honda Fits. They had that Saturn, and all the spec Miatas with regular tires. And they spend their whole race looking in their mirrors, praying to God they don't get hit.
Yeah.
So if you're in the middle, you're passing people, and you're able to pass the Miatas easily enough that you don't have to do anything dangerous. But the cars that are faster than you, all the sports prototypes and the GT cars, they can get by you no problem either. So you can actually have a class battle pretty easily.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to be... Because if you get rear-ended going super slow in a Saturn by something in the prototype class, you're dead.
It's...
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine.
There was a time, it was a couple of years ago, they made a big deal about they didn't want people to take pictures, and so it's not published anywhere, I don't think. You can probably find a race report that vaguely mentions it, but a guy had to go to the hospital. He spun his Miata around and was facing, across the track, broadsided, and there's 2 cars coming up on the guy, and the guy behind, because it's pitch black, the guy who was in second place, we'll call it, sees the car in front of him start to slow down to avoid the wreck. And so it was, I believe it was a Mazda 6, went directly around the guy who was slowing down to miss the Miata and didn't realize that the Miata was there and just nailed him dead on. So it was it was a stock Mazda 6. They had a cage and different shocks and brakes, and the rest of it was stock. It was a diesel. So it was all stock car. So it's a big, heavy car, and they nailed the broadside of that Miata, going just stupid fast. And the guy ended up going to the hospital. He was okay, but he spent the rest of the race at the hospital. That team did not go back out. It was pretty awful, but that's the reality of racing we live in, I guess. So, other than that, I can't remember any like super big wrecks.
Well, I mean, it's different too. When you have to be on the watch for it, you're going to be a little bit more aware of the risk than if, you're racing in a more pro series like maybe the Le Mans, where you have slower cars, but probably not going to end up in a situation where someone who's kind of not necessarily new, but someone who makes a rookie-ish mistake, and then you get into trouble. I don't know. It seems like the awareness level is slightly higher of stupid could happen. So, I don't know.
The other sketchy part about the track, and the other reason I do like the race, is I think Thunder Hill is an FIA grade 4, which is like the lowest grade you can have, because there's no tire walls anywhere. Like the pit lane and the paddock are kind of protected by concrete and catch fencing. But if you go off on the outside and you're in anything that's reasonably fast, there's some parts of the track where you get off the track and it's track, grass, downhill decline. And you'll just slide into the field. And there's no sand traps, there's no tire walls, nothing. You just slide forever. And then they have to stop the race and come and tow you out, because usually you can't get up the hill. There's a vineyard back there now, and I keep waiting for somebody to finally throw it off far enough to get into the vineyard, and I haven't seen anybody do it yet.
I would like wine made from grapes destroyed by a race car. I would buy that.
That would be fantastic. I need to find the name of that vineyard and see if they want to get on the show.
Yes, that would be... What do you suppose that vineyard thinks of the racetrack? That's really what I want to know.
I don't know. I think that vineyard hasn't always been there is the thing. I think that's like a recent development. And it's like, have you not looked what is literally next door to you?
Yeah.
You can't not hear it. Like, I go for bike track days, and it's ridiculous.
I wonder if the extra CO2 put out by the cars is better for the plants.
Ooh, that could be.
Maybe that's why they put the vineyard there.
You know, brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wine in Sonoma tastes really good.
It's a good point.
So, you know, I mean, I obviously wouldn't know. I'm not a big wine connoisseur.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know.
Yeah, because we're both men, so we both don't know, you know.
Right.
We drink beer, damn it.
Oh, see, I don't drink beer. Here's an embarrassing story. So, we're going to transition this a little bit because I do want to do like a racing podcast, like end of the year kind of thing. I'll talk about it more.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you follow me on Twitter, you would know. Actually, I didn't really post about it on Twitter that much. If you've read my articles on rightfootdown.com, that's rightfootdown.com, you would know that I attended the LA Auto Show. And if you're a good listener of the podcast, you'll know that I also did an interview with John Ward of Icon 4x4s.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic guy, fantastic interview.
Exactly. And, you know, the sound was trash. But other than that, you know, I'm telling you, I sat back down in my car and I didn't think about it. And I was on my way home and I was like, oh, I'll review it real quick. And I cried. Because I had just done this brilliant interview with this brilliant man, and I had such a good time, and I couldn't hear anything. And I don't know how you worked the wizardry on that, but good Lord, it was awful.
You know, it's the one thing I actually got experience doing this podcast is making my terrible audio sound less shitty. So if I can make me sound good, I definitely can make you sound good.
See, we need to get the guys from Team Clearcoat to draw us up some plans for a blanket fort. For both of us to use. That way we can... And I should probably be, like, talking to you on Skype on my phone and then recording it with a nice microphone and then sending it to you later and having you cut them together.
Yeah, but see,
that's probably the way we... That's probably the way we should do it, though, audio quality-wise. Instead of just recording a Skype call as we're doing now.
Yeah, but see, this is more visceral, more real, you know. This is real.
This is real Northern California I-5, which is dead straight and full of freaking trees. And not like, oh, pretty trees, but like trees that are set up for like an arbor. So they're all perfectly square. So you just have like 40 miles of tree, overpass. Tree. Like, anyway, embarrassing story. Hooniverse.
Yeah.
I appeared on Hooniverse. Was really intimidating. I arrived at their really kind of neat, unsuspecting office building at night. Went in. It's really cool to be in there. It's like, oh, this is what it's like. This is what it's like to be on the podcast. You're like looking around at all this stuff. It's got like a racing simulator set up, all this stuff everywhere. It's like, oh, this is cool. Total man cave. Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me. And, you know, I did the podcast with them, and they had Brendan McAleer came, and he's a automotive journalist, very good one as well. And he brought a fresh hop beer, which I did not get to sample, but they nerded out about what a fresh hop beer was, and I did learn about beer that day. And then we also brought out it was a local brewery to LA, Jardinier. And according to them, it was a really good beer. They poured me about a 5 to 6 ounce glass, and I did not finish it. Because I just am not a big beer guy.
Yeah.
So, and there's actually a spot, if you listen to the podcast, where he's like, do you want me to drink it? I'm like, no, I'll drink it. I got it. He's like, oh, okay. Because if you're offering, it's really good. I'm like, no. And I choked down probably half of it. I mean, I can see why, like, I understand mostly, like, how beer tastes good. Like, I can listen to how people describe what good beer should taste like, and can confirm that Jardinier beer from whatever LA company that was does taste good. I just don't like beer, so I didn't really drink it. And then I busted out my whiskey. So.
Yeah. Well, the whiskey makes sense. I've always been more of a mixed drink guy myself, as is. I think, you know, if I'm going to go to, for those of you out there who are listening who are maybe getting to that point in age where you can go out to the bar and go drinking, A Long Island iced tea, while it might be as expensive as like 2 or 3 drinks, will get you about as drunk as about 5 or 6 drinks. So that's good value for money, right there. And it's
See, I've been sticking with the. I just will do whiskey and Coke, and by whiskey and Coke I mean I'll get whiskey on the rocks and a cup of Coke.
also a good option. Yeah.
So I mean, I did not. I was. If you listen to the podcast, or if you haven't listened to the podcast, you should. I brought some Macallan 12-year-old Scotch, which was the first bottle of alcohol I bought. I believe I talked about it on the show. Really good. I didn't have any of that either because I had to drive home to Irvine. Yes, I routinely, for the LA Auto Show, if you are in Southern California, I drove from Culver City to Irvine to stay. And then every morning woke up in Irvine and drove to the Staples Center and back every single day. Through rush hour both times.
You're starting to make me feel bad. So
it was. Yeah. Meanwhile, all you ballers with your Detroit passes, probably going to go to the hotel, hang out. Oh, you didn't get the Detroit pass, I guess. But all the other right foot down guys, and they're going to the Detroit Auto Show. They're just going to be. They're going to leave the show hammered. That was the other thing. They're serving alcohol at the LA Auto Show, and I can't even have any because I have to drive all the way to Irvine at 6 at night. So if I hit someone or someone hits me and they're like, "Oh, have you had a drink tonight?" I could say no, and they could breathalyze me and find out that I was lying and screw me. Or I could say yes and then accidentally blow a little bit higher, even though we're moving at 10 miles an hour most of the time. Yeah. So I was like, I can't drink, but there's free alcohol everywhere. So
don't feel too bad about that. At the DC Auto Show and at the New York Auto Show, I faced the same problem where I was like, oh, they're bringing out all the free booze, and I got to drive several hours. This is fun.
Yeah. And then the other thing they had, if you went to the Acura and Volvo and luxury car companies like that, not Audi, pretty much, and not Mercedes-Benz. Actually, Mercedes did have it, but Lincoln. They all had what appeared to be very fancy baristas making pour-overs and all of that kind of stuff. And if you don't know what a pour-over is, that's like a really hipstery term for overpriced coffee that takes too long.
Yeah.
But I don't like coffee at all, so I didn't get to partake in that either. Mm-hmm. So I just drank Coca-Cola and looked like a scrub the entire time.
Ryan, I think this is why we get along so well, because I believe at the end of the day we might fundamentally be the same person, because I cannot stand coffee. My wife makes fun of me all the time. She's like, why don't you drink coffee like an adult? I can't handle the taste. It doesn't taste good. It tastes like some other creature's poop. I mean, it's just awful. I
wouldn't go that far, but I'm not a big it's just the bitter. It's like wham, and you're like, oh god. I can do the iced with 50% milk and sugar. That's good.
Yeah, but I'm
okay with that.
At that point, you're not drinking coffee. You're drinking sugar.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but that's good.
Yeah. I don't know. Now, don't get me wrong. If you spill something in your car, a great way to remove the smell is dryer sheets and coffee. Perfect way to get rid of it.
So, the listener may or may not know, but my job, I don't know if I've actually said what my job is on the air. Have I, Ike?
I don't think so.
Anyway, my job usually, if I say what happens to my car during my job, everybody's going to think I'm a drug dealer. So I have to just really toe this line. Anyway, my car routinely picks up a really strong smell. Mm-hmm. It's not urine, it's not weed, it's not that, but being in Reading and it gets musty because I don't have AC and all that stuff. And I found that a cardboard box of Tide dry laundry soap works really well.
That's another good option. I never thought about just direct laundry soap. I've always
I just have the lid open and it's wedged behind my seat, and it usually works pretty well.
Yeah, this is.
And then alternatively, if it gets really bad, you sprinkle it on all your seats, kind of like you would baking soda, and then vacuum it out after an hour or two, and then it's way good.
So that's actually a really good.
And then you're a little bit lightheaded while you drive around, while you try to get rid of the soap smell.
Sir, have you been drinking this evening? No, man, I'm just
No, it's just the soap, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just so plastered right now. I know we're in Anaheim. I'm almost there. Please just let me go. Oh, gosh.
Oh, man. I don't know. First of all, one of the things that you bringing out the whiskey on Jeff Glucker's show, Hooniverse, again, if you haven't listened, go listen to the episode. It's great. It made me think I want to find a way to bring booze whenever I do an in-person interview and have a drink or a shot with someone every time I do an interview with them.
Well, I mean, their thing is you're supposed to bring beer, and I realized while I was sitting waiting to interview Jonathan Ward, I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, man, I didn't bring any beer. And Northern California has great breweries, and I could have got my friend to bring me down some beer from one of those Montana breweries that I used to go to that's really good. And I was like, damn it. And I realized I had that whiskey in my car because my brother loves whiskey, so I thought I'd bring it for us to share. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, no, I'll just play it off like I brought it on purpose. And it worked.
It wasn't on purpose. It was just meant to be. That's what happened. So,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go for it. You're good.
I was going to say, there's nothing, if you can't be in a car experiencing the freedom and the momentum, the next best thing is having a little bit of a buzz. And I think bringing whiskey to in-person interviews, I don't know, I'm going to have to come up with a good alcohol to do that with. So if the listeners have any suggestions, please provide them. But,
I think it should be whiskey.
Whiskey's a good one.
Oh, no, you should do it themed based on what they do.
Yeah, but see, I feel like having one bottle go through multiple interviews would be a cool way to do it.
See, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my bottle of whiskey, is having a story with this bottle, and then at the end I'll write an article about what I did with this bottle and all the places it's been and people it's been drank from.
See, I like that idea. It's a good idea.
It is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, LA Auto Show, pretty fun. My first experience with an auto show. So I'm going to tell everybody about all of my little bumbles so that when somebody else is in my shoes one day, they realize that they're not an idiot. It's actually me that's the idiot. So I realize I wake up because I'll explain this. This was probably illegal. I think there's some kind of driving law about this. I woke up at 3 p.m. the day before I meant to drive down there. Went about my day, and I departed from Redding, California at like 12 or 1 in the morning, something like that. Mm-hmm. Drove down. I decided to go down the coast and stop in Santa Barbara to see one of my best friends because I knew I was going to have to stop around that amount of time anyway. I knew it was a little bit longer, but I was like, I hadn't seen him in a while. So stopped there, played catch with him for an hour. By this point, it's like 10, 11 in the morning, something like that. Maybe I left a little bit later. Anyway, so I leave from there, and I'm like, okay, I've got to go to LA, and I've got to do this interview with John Ward. And by the time day had broken over Santa Barbara, keep in mind this is November, and I live in Northern California, where at that point it was like 60 every day, and it would get down to like 50 or 40 at night. It wasn't super. It was cold enough that you would probably opt to wear jeans as opposed to shorts.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like jacket weather yet, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people here think it's jacket weather when it's 60, and I think they're stupid. But
you have a thing with weather, so we'll just move on.
All right, yeah, no, I'm really weird about the weather. Anyway, I realized that it's 90 degrees in Santa Barbara, and my car doesn't have air conditioning. And the only reason I took my car willingly and didn't ask to take somebody else's car is because I knew I didn't need AC because it's November. So I'm stuck in traffic in LA, realizing that I'm about to go do a interview that I'm really excited for with somebody who's very professional, and realize that I smell awful. Awful. So I'm in kind of Western LA, Malibu area, kind of. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll just go to a truck stop and use the bathroom and use the shower. Mm-hmm. Which, have you used the truck stop shower before?
No, and I hope I never have to.
So that's the thing. I thought it would be like a middle school, like, communal shower thing, and I was a little bit freaked out about it. But I smelled bad enough and feared for my future career enough that I was going to endure it.
Yeah.
and shower with truckers. And I was not psyched about it, but I was going to just do it. No, you get in there, you pay your $12 or whatever, and best $12 I've ever spent.
Really?
And there's like 6 doors. No, this is great. There's like 6 doors down the hallway, and like the thing comes up on a little screen, and it calls your number, and it's like, oh, you're ready. And then you look at your receipt, and there's a PIN code. And so you punch the PIN code into the keypad next to the door, and it opens, and it's like your own little bathroom suite. And it's got like marbly tile and like a toilet, and it's all been, they clean it every time, supposedly. That's what I kept telling myself while I wore my sandals, because I wasn't that confident.
Yeah.
But you just get your own little private bathroom thing. There's nobody else in there. It's just like you get a sink and a walk-in shower, and you can adjust the shower head, and there's soap dispensers and all kinds. It was great. But there's no truck stops actually in LA, so I had to go from Malibu to roughly Santa Clarita, which, again, if you're from Southern California, you know how asinine of a trip that would be just to take a shower. It took me, it was about, I want to say it was like 60 miles I ended up driving to find a shower to take.
Oh, man, that's a long way to go for a shower.
Drove 60 miles to take the shower, and then I drove 40 miles south, realized that I was 2 hours ahead of schedule because I had the times wrong in my head. And so I found a little industrial park and sat in the shade, trying not to be sweaty, waiting for my interview with Jonathan Ward. So I did that, and I'm like, what the hell am I going to do if I get all sweaty? This could be awful. Totally awful and terrible. And luckily I wasn't. And I was wondering to myself, who is this that's ahead of me doing this? Because he mentioned that he had an appointment beforehand to meet with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I see this kind of short man with bald head and large aviators sitting in the passenger seat of a Viper ACR, like a brand new one, just ripping around the block. And I'm like, God damn it, it's fucking Alex Roy. Son of a bitch. Like, I don't know who Jonathan Ward is at this point. Ike has given me very few details, and I'm not familiar with him. So I'm like, Jesus, what am I going to do? I can't follow an Alex Roy interview. The guy's going to think I'm a complete jamoke. What am I doing? What is going on? This day is just getting worse and worse, and by now it's like 3 p.m., so I've been up for 24 hours. So it finally gets to within like 5 or 10 minutes of my interview time, and I walk in the building, and like I'm super self-conscious about, oh my God, am I sweaty? Am I sweaty? God, I hope not. And the lady's like, hi, what can I do for you? Like, oh, I have an interview with Jonathan Ward. Oh, okay, yeah, he's in his office. I'll call him real quick. Didn't answer. He's like, oh yeah, he's out and about doing stuff. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. And so they had me sit in this really comfortable seat in their like little lobby.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex Roy walked out, and I have met Alex Roy previously, and so I reintroduced myself because I'm sure he meets people all the time. It's like, oh yeah, you're in that untitled car show. Yeah, that's you. Okay. Anyway, I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to go after you. He's like, oh, no. This guy, he's a great interview. He'll make it really easy. I promise. You'll love it. You're going to get some good content. And like to this point, I just think, oh, he makes really expensive off-road rigs that are kind of cool. But go listen to the podcast of my interview with him. Even if you can't stand the audio, pick 15 minutes out of it and just listen to it. Everything he does is so perfectly detailed, and just everything is awesome about everything he does. He's got a cool car collection himself, and there's a lot of stuff that didn't make the final cut of the podcast, mostly because some of it was off record and all that kind of stuff. But no, cool guy. If you get the chance, look at his stuff. I know there's a car show on Esquire Network, and he's going to have one of his pickups that he built. It's going to be on the car show. I can't think of whatever the name of it is, but I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I saw one of those. Okay. It was probably the same one.
Yeah.
But just really cool. Yeah. Just really, really, really cool cars across the board. Great guy. Go check that out. I know the audio sucks. Listen to 20 minutes of it. Just listen to 20 minutes and listen to just how great and how awesome all the stuff is that he does. and then
audio's
be
not
sad in the
that
thought that if you're
bad.
listening to the podcast, you probably won't quite ever be able to afford anything he builds.
Well, A, the audio's not that bad, like I said. B, yeah, no, I don't. If you're listening to this show and you're able to afford one of his rigs, might I suggest a donation to the site here? That might,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, indeed.
yeah,
Or me even.
yeah. Just saying, you know, maybe
Yeah.
maybe we should start a Patreon thing or something. No,
I hate that. I hate Patreon. I'm so sick of Patreon popping up everywhere. So if you like us, go ahead. Here's our Patreon details, and like I'm so done with hearing about it. Oh
I guess we can't
God.
do that now. God, thanks, Ryan.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we still could, but you know, I'll just sign off before you do the like. Okay, so you know, I hate asking people for stuff. I can't stand it. Wendover Productions. Are you familiar with Wendover Productions?
No.
They have a lot of really cool videos. Like I used to watch them, and then like the last 5 minutes of all their videos recently have been like, so I'm just reaching out to you guys. You know, if you really like the videos, you can visit our Patreon, and you know, if you put in $27.36, then you'll get a patch. And I'm like, oh my god, just say if you like the show, please give me money. Thanks, bye.
Yeah, I think the honesty at that level would be just more appreciated. Like, just pitching a buck. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like have a donation thing going, like Wikipedia. They
Yeah.
throw up that thing every now and then. Like, if you just gave $5 right now and everybody did it, we wouldn't have to do this anymore. Just give us money, for God's sake. And you click go away, and it goes away.
Yeah, it's true.
So, and apparently people do it, because I can still look at Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously not doing that right now. I'm driving, so, you know.
Of course not. No, we never pay attention to our phones while we're driving.
I don't know what you're talking about. My job involves driving. I never, ever, ever pay attention to my phone while driving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, Jonathan Ward, great guy. I absolutely adore him. He's one of the brightest, and I think he's a future like design. Like he won't be appreciated while he's alive, but I think, you know, the moment after he passes, the general public will go, "Oh, we should have paid attention to him while he was still alive." Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Feeling bad about sending you on the interview all of a sudden.
Oh, so no. It gets better.
Oh, okay.
It gets better. So, I leave Jonathan Ward's at around, I don't know, 4:15 in the PM. So I've been up 25 hours. And then I have to go on Jeff Glucker's. Not have to. I've been invited to go on Jeff Glucker's show, which is at a different part of LA. And I had several hours to kill, so I figured I would just zip to the convention center real quick, file all my paperwork, and get my badge, and then zip over to Jeff Glucker's cool office and do the podcast. And I walked around the Tech Pavilion at the LA Auto Show. And I just want to emphasize, if you work with the LA Auto Show, I think the LA Auto Show was great, and I appreciated your hospitality all weekend. So thank you. That being said,
yeah.
I did not enjoy the Technology Pavilion at all whatsoever. I absolutely hated being in there the entire time I was there, which was about 25 minutes. So, I can't I don't know. No, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I might want to make a career out of this someday, and I'm not going to ruffle any feathers. It's just, no, I see why they do it. I do think it is a valid addition to an auto show, which, as we all know, is kind of getting up there a little bit in how necessary it is, and you can do online launches and stuff. But so I see that they want to diversify, but having 10 or 11 tech companies, which I personally cannot discern the difference between most of them, or tell you what any of them do. And like, I'm not trying to be like a joker or like funny about that, but I literally don't know what some of them did. I have no idea. I looked at their posters, I talked to people, I asked questions, and I am no wiser about any of their stuff at all. Couple that with, like, it was almost super sad because you go to the LA Auto Show and there's it's like these big halls in the convention center and everything's all set up, all cool. And it looks a little bit like a high school science fair in a little tent outside the convention center.
Oh.
So, it's like, let them go inside. Let them go in their own hall. Do something, please. And, like, some of the tech exhibits were in, like, the kind of the middle of two of the halls. And, like, those ones were set up really nice. Like, there was a company that made 3D printed cars. Like, that was great. And they were in the middle of the hall, and their stuff was cool. But you went into that little, the technology pavilion, as it was called, which is just a big tent.
Yeah.
And it was carpeted. It was a carpeted tent, you know. It was substantial, but it was still like, oh man, come on. Like, if you've got cool stuff, just come on inside, guys. Come on inside.
Yeah. Well,
so I don't know. It was weird. I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. The people who I did know what they were doing, I spoke to when I went to the autonomous car track day at Thunder Hill in September.
okay.
So
Yeah.
it was like, meh. Other than that, you know, the LA Auto Show, great. Fun stuff. I got there on my first day. So Jeff Glucker, right?
Yeah.
I pick up my media pass, hang out at the lame technology pavilion for 20 or 30 minutes, and then try to drive to Culver City from the Staples Center, which took everywhere you want to go in LA. It doesn't matter where it's at. Everywhere it takes about an hour. It doesn't matter if you're going 2 miles down the street to get a burger or if you're trying to get to Culver City from downtown LA. It takes an hour to get there, roughly. Everything takes an hour. And if you're going outside of the county, it takes 2 hours. So if you're trying to get to Malibu, it takes 2. Trying to get to Irvine, it takes 2. But everything else is around an hour, and that just made me very grumpy. And having been to both municipalities now, if you live in the Bay Area, you no longer get to complain about traffic. Because at least in the Bay Area, you're forced to sit in agony for like 25 to 30 minutes. And then it's like the drop of a hat, it's clear.
Yeah.
And and you're gone. And everybody's moving again, and it's awesome. But LA, it's just awful. And then the other thing is, part of it is, I know the freeways in the Bay Area a lot better than I know the ones in LA. But the ones in LA, it's just spaghetti. I don't even think they planned any of that. I think there was a highway engineer, and he had plans, and then he let his 3-year-old grab his drawing pencil, and the 3-year-old just kind of made lines, and he didn't notice. And then when he gave it to the contractor was like, "Oh, it's your money, bro," and just did it.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm gonna need to go slightly over budget on this one, and so.
Yeah. So I don't like Southern California, I've decided. So anyway, go on Jeff Glucker's show, finish up with that around 9 p.m., then drive to Irvine, which I get there around 11, then hang out with my brother for an hour and 12. So I was up for 36-ish hours.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Call it 40 hours.
Call it an even 40. Yeah, whatever. So that was fun. No, that was a good trip. The rest of the trip was great. I enjoyed it. But that caused me to be late to my first day at the LA Auto Show, which was awful. But, walked around, talked to people, sat in cars. Pretty cool. Went to press conferences. You can see some of my articles about the press conferences I went to and people I talked to.
Yeah. Yeah, those are on rightfootdown.com.
Rightfootdown.com, absolutely.
Yeah. My favorite thing about that, though, is at least we're sticking to the Untitled Car Show mentality of never showing up to an auto show on time. So it has yet to happen. So
I really wanted to be there on time, and I drastically underestimated what the traffic would be like. And I was sleeping because I was very tired.
Yeah. Okay, so
I did get there on time for the one that I wanted to get there on time for. Which was the Alfa Romeo Stelvio launch.
Ooh, yes.
Which I then tried to go to and then was told that the event tent was too full. So they turned away probably 100 journalists who were trying to get into this event tent to look at the release of the new Alfa Romeo. So that was not fun.
Did you throw a "Do you know who I am" interface just to see if that worked?
No, because again, funnily enough, I saw Alex Roy, who was about 4 people ahead of me, turn away in a huff. I don't know if he pulled the "Do you know who I am?" because every time I've talked to him and made it him being famous, he's brushed it off with like really some good grace about no, man, I'm just a guy. It doesn't matter. I'm not that cool. But he was annoyed that he didn't get into the thing, and I don't think the guy knew who he was. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have got let in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things where, I think Alex Roy is a good bellwether of whether you're a real car guy or not. Because getting into this business, it took me a long while before I figured out who he was. But as soon as I did, I'm like, oh, he does everything. He's like the car guy's car guy, which is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's everywhere, too. I saw him multiple times. His Porsche passed me. He has his classic Porsche. Yeah. He passed me when I was on my way to go get a burger. I'm like, what? That's him. What? So,
you just see the scarf dangling out the window.
Pretty much. Yeah. And the glasses. Nighttime glasses.
Yeah. Which is when I met him, LA Auto Show, New York Auto Show, darker than sin over near the Viper booth, and it's like, who's this douchebag in a leather jacket wearing sunglasses inside? And then just
probably the same jacket.
Probably, yeah, the one that has like all the Policia patches and all that.
Yeah, mm-hmm. That one.
Yeah. I think because of him, I don't think I'm going to dress up for any future auto show. I'm just going to go with my own style and say, hey, this is just how I am. And then people will...
So I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Another embarrassing story in which if you're listening, hi Josh, hi Will. So my first day at the LA...
Stopped listening. So.
Yeah, well good. So I can say this and I won't get in as much trouble. So I was on my way out to the car to depart, and I was already a little bit late. And so I figured I would I put on trousers, and I had a collared shirt on. And I went to put on my suit jacket and promptly tore the sleeve directly off. So I was in a little bit of a pickle. I couldn't really do anything else. So I instead, for whatever reason, opted to wear khaki shorts and a polo. I don't know. I opted to wear the shorts because it was going to be hot as hell again. I didn't want to be sweaty by the time I got there again.
Yeah.
So I switched to the shorts and I wore a polo, and then I realized that the polo had a kind of obtrusive stain, like on the bottom corner, that like probably no one would have noticed. But I was very self-conscious about it, so I instead donned my Oakland A's sweatshirt. So I walked around at the LA Auto Show in khaki shorts and a sweatshirt.
Again, this goes along my further proof of we might be the same person. So I arrived at the New York Auto Show, went to put on my suit jacket, discovered that my cat had decided to get in and just rip holes in the back of my suit jacket. So that was the thing. And then I had luckily brought 2 shirts, because the first shirt I put on and got dressed, I realized there was a giant stain on the bottom, and I went, I am not doing well here. So put on my other shirt and just like walked through half of New York to get to the auto show with like kind of nice khakis on and like a collared shirt. Like, yeah, that's good enough. It's like, fine.
I wish I had been that nice, because the entire day everybody was more well-dressed than me. And whenever CEOs would do bad presentations, which if you've been to an auto show, you know happens.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really do the whole, we're going to clap for them anyways thing, because there's 200 other people clapping, so I didn't figure anybody would notice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're the kid in the bright green sweatshirt and shorts, and you're not clapping, everyone glares at you because you are the unwashed, and how the hell did he get in here? So I spent the entire day feeling completely inadequate, and then I would like try to, because I have Josh and Will on my case, like, we need pictures, and I'm like, okay, and I'm trying to take pictures with my iPhone, and so here I am giving orders. Oh, excuse me, can you please move? I need to get a picture of this car with my iPhone, wearing a sweatshirt. I had no authority over anything at all, and I just it was just so terrible.
Oh,
That whole day, I kept hoping to find some like bro who looked like me, who was in like an equally shitty situation, and I just kept not finding them. And I left early that day, mostly because, well, one, I missed all the press conferences. I did go to most of them that day, and two, it was a short day or something. I don't know, some reason I didn't stay like the whole. I don't know. It was the day before. It opened the day before the Tech Pavilion was like open. I didn't stay at that the whole day. So yeah, it was the next day that I wore my thing, and so I finally got my shit together and wore really, 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 really dark Levi's and a nice dress shirt.
Now I have to know
The last day. So like that, I felt in place enough that I could talk to people then.
Yeah. Now I have to know, did you the badge you got? Did it say Right Foot Down or did it say Untitled Car Show?
It said Right Foot Down / Untitled Car Show.
Fancy. See, yeah.
So I had them both.
Yeah. The Untitled Car Show bit, that's fine. Just you can be as much of a douche with that on as you want. In fact, I insist on it, because you know what? The lower you set expectations, the lower I have to live up to, all right? You know, like...
So, another little inside baseball story. I'm going to the first day of my auto show experience, and apparently I receive a Twitter message and a Skype message from Ike, which I did not see because I'm looking at Waze, trying to get it to get me back on the freeway, because the Waze, it keeps wanting me to go around the traffic by going off the freeway, just keep making it longer.
Yeah.
So in my process of fiddling with that, I missed both messages from you. Hey, you should really talk to Josh. And I'm like, I have never met Josh at all. At all. I have never spoken with him. I have never interacted with him whatsoever. And so finally I get this Skype message actually comes through. Hey, Ryan, it's Josh. Do you have a minute?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, maybe. And so did anybody talk to you about any of the coverage we're going to do? Not really. So we had a production meeting while I'm like flailing around in traffic in LA. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. What am I doing? Why did anybody let me come here? This is ridiculous. Oh, it was just the most embarrassing day. Oh.
Well, so here's the great thing about, you know, quote unquote working with Right Foot Down and Untitled Car Show. So when it was just me doing this bullshit, I didn't care. I'd walk around, people would talk to me, sometimes they wouldn't talk to me, whatever. Working with the Right Foot Down guys has opened a lot of doors and everything, and the downside to it is they have expectations of other people, which I have quickly removed all expectations on my behalf. So I basically just go, listen, this is how I'm going to run this entity over here, and you guys do what you want to do. But at the moment, because I told them you were going, and then there was something I made comment of on the like main Skype like production chit chat thing. I'm like, oh yeah, Ryan's down in LA, and it's like, oh, can you have him email me? Can you have him Skype me? Can you have me like, sure, like here you go. Like, wait a minute, did I just get Ryan more work? Meh.
Yes, you did. I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for it because actually forcing myself to do all that work has made me more likely to do it in the future, if you know what I'm saying. Like, now that I've proven to myself that I can put out content, I feel more comfortable putting out content, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense, because the worst thing that you can do, and I did this at 2 different auto shows, is have no agenda, which you think is really freeing, but at the end of the day, it's like, I have no idea what I should be doing right now, and like everyone around me is like doing work. What is wrong with me? Like, yeah. That's
the other thing I found is that if you're starting an automotive blog and you want to go to an auto show, bring more than one person.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to take pictures, pay attention to the press conference, record the press conference so I can write about it later, because I'm also not writing about it right now because I'm taking pictures and, trying to pay attention. And I end up just trying to do 7 things at once and then not getting any content out in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do at least 2 or 3 people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because, damn. Damn.
Yeah, all the Jalopnik guys, you can see there's like the guy you know from the site, and then there's someone with a camera at least following them around at all times. So it's like, that makes sense. That's a good setup.
Yep. Unfortunately, I did not hire my own photographer that day. I did not have that much money.
Yeah.
After paying the LA Auto Show $25 per day for the honor of parking in their garage.
Which is just crazy to me. How? I don't know how to get. Well, same thing in New York. Where did I park? Oh, I did in a pain in New York. That was not fun. And they put the car in one of those little elevator stack things. You ever see one of those things?
Oh gosh, I haven't seen one in person, but I've seen like pictures of them.
Mm-hmm. It's disheartening to see like, oh, where's your car? Well, it's the Ford Fiesta. Oh, that's up on like block C, like 4, and you're like, my poor car's been like hanging in the air. It's just the weirdest thing. Like, it seems super Japanese and awesome, but then you see it in America, and it just looks like the trashiest thing from like a dystopian future. Just awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not big on the trashy dystopian future, if I'm honest.
Yeah. A lot of New York was trashy dystopian future. I'm just realizing.
Yeah. So was a lot of LA.
No. And you got to
and the LA Tourism Board is not going to appreciate me for this, but it is my opinion that you should not vacation in LA. You should not live there. It is awful.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Don't go to LA. Just don't.
Mm-hmm. Just leave it to Alyssa Walker. Just let her have it. You know, just that's her zone. Just let her exist there. Everyone else can just vacate.
Alyssa Walker, who also does not write for the Gizmodo branch of companies now.
No, she left right before they got bought up by Univision, I think. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I believe so.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh yeah, me either.
Yeah.
Well, what a tragedy. I guess that'll just remain a mystery. Anyway.
Yeah. So, one of the things. Well, I don't know. I'm very curious. So, overall experience at LA, you enjoyed yourself?
Show that was very fun. 10 out of 10 would do it again, especially now that I know what the hell I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what was your favorite part of the show?
My favorite part of the show. Mm-hmm. Like, did I have a favorite? I really enjoyed. I was very much looking forward to the Mazda Daytona prototype launch. Mm. And them actually launching that there at the show and getting to talk to Sylvain Tremblay, who owns Speed Source, and getting to interact with drivers and that kind of thing. That was very cool to be a part of. And I live streamed it for IMSA fans, which is a Facebook group, which you should also join. So I live streamed that. That was pretty hilarious. That was probably my favorite part, and that wasn't even the second day. That was the first day when everything was just so awful. So did you live stream it wearing the green shirt? I did. I did live stream it wearing my sweatshirt, but you didn't see me. You just saw you saw a car with a sheet on top of it, and then you saw a car. So. So fun. I just love that idea. Oh, yeah. Just if you're gonna do something unprofessional, just cover the right foot down part in the future. Hey, right foot down, great people, very professional. Unless you're me, apparently. Jesus. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So, not to say least favorite part, but let me go with what was the most underwhelming bit? Like, was there something you were trying to look at and it was kind of just meh? I should have known you were going to spring this on me, but I wish you hadn't sprung it on me because, I thought, okay, I can say this safely. I thought Tesla was very elitist by not being in the car company space, but being in the tech space of the whole presentation thing. I thought that was very smarmy. So I was not a very big fan of that. And then I went and sat in their cars, and they're awful. Yeah,
Okay, so
Everything creaks and moans, and they have the Model S there, or the X, the SUV one, the X. Yeah. Have the Model X there. It's got the cool doors, right?
Yeah.
So you're at an event where you're gonna have 500 journalists walking by. Wouldn't you want to show that off?
You would think.
The doors being in action.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was informed by the Tesla rep that they were locked in the upright position and that I could watch them operate on his tablet. Which to me says we really can't afford to have journalists pressing this button 100 times because it will break.
Yeah, exactly. Which isn't a
so
good sign.
Right.
Yeah.
In addition to the fact that it's a 6-seater. No adult fits in the back 2 seats, so it's actually a 4-seater. And at that point, you may as well get a
Model S.
Anything else.
Yeah.
Even a Model S. Well, even the Model S I wasn't a super big fan of.
Yeah, but
there wasn't a whole lot of continuity. I don't know. It was weird. I didn't like it. I don't like any of the Tesla stuff. Sorry, I've come out and said that, but
no,
I don't get it. Like, I do, but
the issue with Tesla is they make some great drivetrains. They make some great ideas. The tactile feedback you get from most of their material is pretty bad, and then there is sitting in the cars. There's a lot of creaking, like you said, and then in the Model S I've been in, from the eye level, basically from where the window line is up is all good, and then window line down is all kind of like where did you get this from? Like, this looks like a parts bin part. So
yeah. I almost wish they had more parts bin parts. Like, it feels like they tried too hard to go their own way, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
It really bums me out because, again, it's not like I went and found somebody who had used theirs for 35,000 miles.
Yeah,
they know that I'm there to fuck with it.
Yeah.
And that's the best you could do. Oil the seats, tighten stuff down. I don't cheat.
Yeah, I'm with you. No,
pretend you care.
Yeah. No,
Anyway, there was a lot of cool stuff. I did enjoy sitting in the back of the Mercedes S-Class and shutting the door and having it be like a dome of silence.
Yeah.
Then laying down in the back seat, this is great.
The Volvo was the weirdest one for me. The sedan, the S90. That thing was just it was hermetically sealed. I didn't silence, and you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah. The S90, for what you were paying, though, did not feel anywhere near as comfy or premium as the A8 or the Alpina B7 or the S-Class.
I honestly think, and I know I'm a bit of a Volvo fanboy here, but I honestly think it all comes down to your personal style. So if you like Swedish style more than you like German style, I think it makes sense for you. It's more of a, are you an Art Deco guy or are you a impressionist guy? And I know I'm mixing up my metaphor here, but
right,
it all comes down to which style is your style. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so you talked about fanboying about Volvo, so that's a great segue. Watch this segue. This is gonna be so sick. All right, ready?
Okay. I've already had my
so as you know, I'm a fan of Toyota.
I'm aware.
So I went in search of some Toyotas that I had not sat in, and I got to the Toyota area and realized that I had sat in all of them. I have already sat in most of the Toyotas that are currently for sale because they are never changed.
Yep.
Anyway, and I spend a lot of time at the Toyota dealer getting my oil changed, and it takes an hour and a half, so I end up sitting in all the cars.
Yeah.
So I went over to the Lexus booth because I haven't sat in very many Lexus, especially new ones.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that struck me, I sat in the Lexus LS, which is the big banker, nice one, right? That's the A8 or the S Class or the 7 Series. and I realized the difference there and what Lexus were trying to do. Because if you sit in an S-Class, and I remember, I think I sent in the Skype chat, the Porsche was even worse. You sit in the driver's seat of a Porsche, and it's button, 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 button. There's a gazillion buttons. It's like sitting in a 747.
Yeah.
And they're all useful, and they're all to do stuff. And, like, I get that. That's fine. Like, I understand that you got stuff to do, and there's stuff that you got to change and all that stuff. But it was like, wow, that's overwhelming. You go sit in an S-Class, even in the back seat. There's like, oh, you got all the seat controls, and you press this one to change the seat in front of you, and you got this, and you shiatsu massage. You sit in the front seat, and it's got sport mode, and it's got all these buttons for suspension. And you can go in the menu. You can change how long the mood light stays on after you take the key out, but you're still sitting in the car. And it's got all these options. Like, look, it's luxury, it's great. And unfortunately, I'm about to use a Mark Cuban quote. Which kind of makes me sad because I don't really like Mark Cuban. But
well, there goes that sponsorship.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, the Dallas Mavericks. Anyway, so there was an episode of Shark Tank, which is on ABC. Other television shows are available, though. I don't think you should just watch that one. You should watch all of them. Every television show, because I can't just advertise one. We're a very fair network here.
Yeah.
And he talked about there was some design company and they were making watches or whatever, and he reached over and made a comment about like, oh, well, you have a watch, but I'm at the point where I don't need a watch. I don't need to know what time it is. Because he's so successful and rich, things are happening around him, not him happening around you. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, yeah.
So, to me, that's what the Lexus is or was. Like, you sit in the S-Class, and it's like, blah, 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 buttons, technology, everything. Blah, 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 blah. You can do everything. You change everything. It's great. It's a great car. It's got all this leather, and it's like, everything's all styled and designed, and there's wood, and there's metal, and carbon, and leather, and all this stitching's great, and headliner's cool, and all this. And you sit in the Lexus LS, and you feel like the craftsmanship is there, and I know a lot of the technology is similar, but it's all underneath. You don't see it or interact with it. And some people say, well, yeah, Brian, it's because it's a Lexus. It's boring. It's for old people. That would confuse the old people. Like, yeah, I get that. But at the same time, there's something really relaxing about you sit in a Lexus LS and you press start, and it's the best car you can have. It's going to be comfortable, and you just drive it. You don't, oh, well, let me set up the diff for driving on a dirt road. It just does it. It's not complicated. You just sit down and you're forced to enjoy yourself. Mm-hmm. Or not enjoy yourself. You're just forced to be relaxed. Yeah, whereas I feel like every time I would sit in a 7 Series, I'd be like, well, if I want the suspension in like soft, but I want the throttle response to be like maxed out, I want the diff locked, but I want the gears to like shift kind of normal because I don't want like the gears to lurch, but how am I going to set up this? And like, do I want the air suspension? I would mess with that constantly.
Yeah, it's not a car.
But that's all hidden.
Yeah. There's like this new age thing. I don't know like if it's a quote millennial thing or not, but like people are buying up like fidget toys, and it almost seems like what a lot of these buttons are for people who need to fidget and mess with stuff. Right.
And like I get it. And I'm going to do another car guy thing that you're not supposed to do. If you quote Top Gear, you sound like a little fanboy that doesn't know what they're talking about. So I hate quoting Top Gear, but I'm about to do it. There's an old episode of Top Gear. Jeremy Clarkson had just tested my favorite car of all time, the BMW E60 M5, which is the one with the V10.
Okay.
And so he like gets done testing it, and Richard Hammond walks over, and he's like, "Oh, but it's a really lame car because you have to like, oh, here, darling, let me set up the gearbox for driving in France." Blah, 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 and was making fun of it. And Jeremy Clarkson said, "But you don't do that. Just get in, tape everything down to the hardest maximum setting for everything, and it's a great car. And just leave it. Don't ever touch it again." And that's kind of what I felt like. That's what I kind of like about cars, or what I would like about cars that I could, if I can afford and drive them all the time, is I don't want to have a million settings. I want you to make the car good from the factory, and then let me drive it.
Yeah.
You don't have like a chef bring you a steak and it's like, okay, well, do you want butter on it? Do you want salt and pepper? I have cayenne pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And he just like leaves it on your table and walks away, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just want a steak. Just make the steak for me, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, here's a wonderful pasta. We have 8 sauces for you to choose from. Well, which one is the best one? Well, it depends on your situation. Which one would you like? Which is kind of nice, but at the end of the day, you're trying to mix and match, and maybe the sauce doesn't go with the noodles because it doesn't grab enough or whatever, and you kind of want it's adjustable camber and caster in a lot of racing cars. Don't fuck with it. Just find out what works and just leave it alone, or have an expert set it up and just leave it. Why are you messing with it?
Well, that's why I like BMW M cars now. They have 2 presets.
Yeah.
Like, that's perfect.
Yep.
And then you spend 40 minutes fiddling with one and have a comfort one, and then spend 40 minutes fiddling with the performance one you want. Because let's be honest, you're not taking your M5 to the track. You're just not going to do it.
Probably not.
So have a hoot mode where it's just lazy suspension and gives you all the power. So you can get great burnouts and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm not rich. I don't have an M5. Apparently, something I have realized being a part of the Skype Right Foot Down group chat is everybody but you and me at Right Foot Down owns a BMW M3.
Is that so? Does Justin have one?
Well, I don't know if Justin has one, but like Will has one, Josh has one. There's 1 or 2 of the other guys have one as well, and it's like, oh, but why?
I don't know. They're not. I'm about to say something that a lot of people maybe not agree with. I don't think they're that good. They're great cars, but like, especially in the area I live in, where you just see them all the time and they're all ratted out. You kind of lose that, like, oh, those are such great cars. You see them and they're ratted out and they're driven by people who have no business driving them, and they lose that, like, class, like, aspirational aspect to it. I don't know. And again,
I do like the M3, but the way people do stuff to it, well, it's because they're getting cheaper now, I guess. Yeah. But the way people do stuff to them, it's like, I mean, it's really.
I feel like I have to kind of, it's not that I'm saying it's a bad car. I'm saying that I don't like it. Like, it's not the car for me. I don't know. I think
it is. It is very much the car for Ryan. If you can afford an Icon vehicle, please send me an M3 as well.
He will also be taking donations for Lexus LFAs at the moment, I believe is what's going on.
Yes. I love the LFA. Oh my. And that's the other thing that bummed me out, sitting in the Lexus area. Like, the LS was cool. I was like, oh yeah, I got that. Okay. And like the RCF, you look at the outside of it and you're like, oh, that's where they were going. When you do when they talk about the LFA, oh, sick. And you sit inside, it's nothing like it.
No.
Nothing at all like the LFA. I was very disappointed. Very disappointed. It was awful. It wasn't awful. It was still a very comfortable car. I could still see that it would be fun to drive, but it was like, oh, darn. All right. This is not an LFA. I'm kind of bummed out. There's like 3 cars that I don't think I'll ever get to drive, and it sucks because they all kind of were like my favorite car at one point, and it's like, oh, that's never going to happen. So like the LFA would be one. The very first car that, like, when I was starting to like get into cars that I like liked a lot was the McLaren Mercedes SLR 722.
That's a nice car.
That just looked awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you could get it in Gran Turismo 4, and it was awesome. It had the little air brake thing, and, it sounded cool. It was, like, supercharged, and, like, Lewis Hamilton drove for them at that time. So it had all the, like, racing pedigree, and it was, like, it was a McLaren, but it was a Mercedes, so it was, like, it was fast, but it was comfortable. And, like, I'll never get to drive one, ever. And I'll never get to drive an LFA, and I'll never get to drive a Murcielago SV, which, from reading, looks like it's the last truly, like, batshit Lamborghini. Like, now they're, and like, again, I haven't driven them. This is all what I read, etc. People are saying now that it's like a big Audi R8, and everything's kind of like linear, and it just happens, and it just turns. But I like the idea of a car that's trying to kill you, that is a racing car. That's like, oh, by the way, there's a license plate on it, so don't hit potholes.
You're aware of the pun you just made inadvertently, right?
No.
You said Murcielago and batshit, and Murcielago means bat. So, bat.
Wow.
Yeah,
look at
see,
me,
yeah.
Look at me in my Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's fragile.
It's getting too late for me, apparently.
Yeah.
Let's kind of briefly talk. You talk about different modes in cars. Can I tell you, I have a Ford Escape for the week, and it has the sport mode, and I don't.
Okay, so see, when you posted that picture on Twitter, I thought you were testing your own Escape for a week and trying to play it off like it was something cool.
No, it's a 2017 Ford. I believe it's pronounced Escape.
Yeah. Escape, excellent. Now, is this a service loaner or was it a press car?
This is from Ford. It's got the little Michigan plate on it. So
is it a service loaner or a press car?
No, it's a press car. It's
okay.
It's
okay, I was just checking. You were very much not answering my question directly. I'm like, okay, so...
It's from Ford. It's got a Michigan plate on it. It says manufacturer. It is a proper press car. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, that I've put 400 miles on, and I hope they don't get pissed at me about.
Oh, see, you're worried about that. I put 1,200 miles on that Avalon, so... And they gave me another one, so...
It's true, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're late enough in the episode, too. I got a vacation coming up. I'm wondering if I can get Mitsubishi to give me something for the vacation as a rental car.
Outlander.
Yeah, or...
was kind of cool to sit in. I liked it.
Yeah. Ooh, did you sit in a Mirage?
I did. I sat in a Mirage and went like, right, but I could have this, or a Fiesta, or a Yaris, or a Versa, and I just kept going through it, and it's like, right, I could buy one of these, or I could buy a car that was like a little bit more suited to what I enjoy. So I don't know. For some people, it's probably a great choice, but for me, it was like, They didn't have a hatchback there, I don't think. So I was like, okay, can't really see how big it is. They may have, and I just didn't see it. I don't know.
I said enough in the videos about it, but I think at the end of the day, if you're a tall person, that's the car you should get if you give zero shits about cars. But
yeah, I don't really fit in a Fiesta very well. I sat in a Fiesta ST again, and I was like, damn it. I sat in a Focus RS, and I was like, damn it. I sat in a Mustang GT 350, and I was like, oh, yes, manly.
That's what you need.
So, yeah.
Again, accepting donations for one of those as well.
Indeed. Anyway, so you have your Ford Escape, your Escape.
And there will be a wonderful review coming up. And I really
Excellent.
I like the design change. It's subtle, but I think it makes a big improvement. So before we leave today, and I can start editing this, so hopefully get it up later today, you have a wonderful little car you're driving around right now, right?
I do. I have a 2017 Toyota Corolla XSE.
So do you want to give us a brief preview of how it's doing?
So, I don't know. You probably have that friend that you've been friends with for a while, and they're not your best friend, but they hang out with you a lot or whatever, or maybe in high school. And you love them to death, and they're really cool, and they do lots of fun stuff, but god damn it, they just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and it so pisses you off. They keep going back to the same girl. They keep making the same mistake. They keep getting and ruining the same jobs and all this. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, I'm kind of at that point with Toyota. I tested the Avalon, and that's everything I love about Toyota. I'm going to expound on this a little bit in my article that I'm going to do about it. Love the Avalon. Comfortable, lots of space, quiet on the inside, sneaky fancy. Didn't look like a big douche driving it around. Rear sunshades, got all the toys in the world. Everything's great. You can get one for the price of a Camry. which it's the price of a nice Camry, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is what I think you should do instead of buying a Camry, because I've driven a Camry as well, and I was much less of a fan of that. It's comfy, good stereo, just all the features in the world, hybrid, and like I'm blasting around town in this Avalon, like as fast as I can go, safely, of course, but just driving the exact way you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Flooring it everywhere, accelerating, and the worst mileage I got was 30.
That's pretty awesome.
And if I'm taking my time and being careful, I'm pushing like 40, 45-ish. And it's like, yeah, this is a kick-ass car. I love this. This is sweet. I want one. And the one I tested, it was 42 grand. And like, there's stuff in it that you don't need. Like, you don't need air-conditioned seats. You don't need fancy climate control. You just have the knobs. You don't need, the super JBL awesome sound system. You just get the regular sound system. Probably sounds just fine. You can get them down to like 33 or 34 with the hybrid, and like that'd be a cool car, and you can keep it forever and run forever, and it'd be great. I love that part of Toyota, that like they make good cars that are like awesome across the board. Like, yeah, this is pretty sweet. Meanwhile, they've continued putting the same goddamn engine in this Corolla that they've done for years, like since 03. It hasn't really changed underneath, and it's just. The one I'm testing is 23 grand, and for how much is it Focus ST?
About 23 grand, yeah.
It's about 23, maybe a little bit more. I think it's probably like 26.
Well,
but like you can get this
23, so Focus, yeah, probably 25, 26. Yeah.
Well, even a Fiesta ST, because the Focus is the one that's in this size, I guess. But this one's 23,495. It's the top spec model, but it's got 137 horsepower. It's got a CVT that's really slow, and if you drive this around the same way I drove the Avalon around, you get about 21 miles to the gallon.
That's just pitiful.
And if you drive it on the freeway, you can almost get 40 the same way the Avalon did. I know the Avalon's about $10,000 more expensive, but it's bigger, faster to 60, more comfortable, quieter. And you just run down the list, and it's like, okay, but you're paying $10,000 less. But I'm like, this is the sport one. It's not supposed to be comfy. Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm looking at sports cars in roughly this range. Even the regular Focus, the titanium or platinum or whatever, like the nice one that's not the ST. My father has one. That's a great car. Mm-hmm. I like it. But I can't see spending 23 grand on this.
Yeah.
And it's kind of making me a little bit irritated, but at the same time, this will still be running in 25 years, and the Focus will not.
Also,
so it really depends on who you're buying it for, I guess. Like this is a great car to buy for a teenager.
Yeah,
looks cool. It's got all the safety sense, radar, cruise control, lane departure, backup camera. It's got all that comes on like every Toyota now. It's got all that stuff. So that's really cool. I like that. I like that they're making that a standard thing. It's got Bluetooth, stereo, all that jazz. The leather seats are, for me, meh. Again, I'm about 6'4" and 260, so I'm quite large. Mm-hmm. I could not fit a helmet in this. It's not very fast. It handles okay. Handling's not bad. But a lot of legroom in the back. There's not this much legroom in the back of the Focus.
Yeah. Well, don't blow too much on this. You know, we gotta.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Anyway, so but do read it, because there's stuff that I do enjoy, and there's other more specific criticisms I have, of course. So,
all right.
There you go.
Excellent. Well,
good.
My ass is getting sore, and it's almost 2 a.m. here, so we're gonna go ahead and put the kibosh on this. Any closing?
No problem. Follow me. Oh, yeah.
Did you make it home okay?
I did make it home okay. I made it home great.
Excellent. Yeah, so follow you, Ryanator122 on Twitter.
Yep, do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Follow me. Read my stuff on Right Foot Down. That is really fun to see people read my things. Mm-hmm. So that's neat. I feel like it's not awful. Some of it I've even been told is amusing, which I thought was weird. So, I guess I'm an amusing writer. So
I would say
there you go.
Yeah. All right. Visit endurance-radio.com to watch the live feed. If this is Saturday, what is it? The second, third? What are we?
Yeah, third. Yeah. It'll be the third.
Yeah, Saturday.
So if it comes out on the third, watch the live feed. You'll listen to your boy Ryan West throwing down some hot takes. No, won't be throwing down hot takes. That's what the podcast is for.
Exactly. Yeah. So endurance-radio.com. Do that.
Yep.
If you like the show, follow us at Untitled Car Show. That's where I put all my bullshit. Rightfootdown.com, theuntitledcarshow.com. Am I missing anything? Oh, we have an Instagram now where we have a Facebook-ish thing.
Do we have a Snapchat?
We don't have a Snapchat. Not yet. You're one of you youth. Maybe you should run the Snapchat.
I don't. I am like the least Snapchatty person of all time. Why don't you respond? Because I can text you, for God's sake.
Yeah, but that doesn't go away after an hour, so what's the point?
Whatever. No, it goes away after seconds. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm old. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's it. So, everyone,
perfect.
Yeah, everyone, thanks so much for listening. Have a good night. Have a good evening, wherever you are. Thanks so much for listening. Oh, make sure you tell a friend, because that's how we grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And have your pets spayed or neutered as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Spayed or neuter your Ryan West. That's right. All right. Wait.
No.
Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.